Hello, my name is Susan Kraft, and this is Talk Art, a program funded by the Silicon Valley Open Studios, SVOS. Open Studios occurs the first 3 weeks of May, from Gilroy up to Belmont. You can find out how to join SVOS by going to our website, svos.org. The Open Studios application is available online at svos.org between October and January every year. Today we are going to talk with Ranjani Mohana, an emerging pastel artist in San Francisco Bay Area. Ranjani's artistic passion really took on a new life after she moved to the U.S. from India. Isn't that right, Ranjani?
You are absolutely right, Susan.
Thank you so much for coming to Talk Art today.
You are most welcome. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, I know you had to drive quite a ways to get into our station here, and one of the things you're doing out in Danville area is you're working with a Danville Art Club. Tell me about it. It's a really big deal. 150 years of the town and historic buildings, and what's going on? Tell me about it.
You are right about that. Danville is celebrating its 150 years right now of history. And I belong to the Alamo Danville Art Association, and we have a pioneer art gallery in downtown Danville. So all the artists we are painting, we are doing an art of all the historic buildings in Danville for the show, which is going to be starting in September 28th.
So when you say we have an art gallery, it's not we the club. Is it a private gallery in town?
It belongs to the club members.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So one of the club members is hosting all the shows over there.
So is this gallery in a historic building also?
No, it is not in a historic building, but it's in a historic town. It's on the main downtown area.
It's a great town. It's a beautiful town.
It is.
So the building, where is the building? What's the building's on? What street is it on? I think you told me it's on Hart's Way.
Hart's Way, that's right.
As in Heartbeat,
yes.
Hart's Way.
Yeah, Hart's Way. That's right.
What an interesting name. It's not a very California California name, Hart's Way. Is that somebody's name, do you think? Or is
no,
that
I'm not sure
writer
about that.
or somebody famous? No, it just is.
Yeah.
Do you have like a Liver Way? We've got Livermore.
That's
oh
true.
my God, that's it. We've got all the different, so we got Kidney, Stone Town. No, huh? Okay.
No, I don't know about that.
All right, I'm getting silly about this stuff. Okay, so anyway, you're doing something really important. You've been commissioned to paint a particular building.
Yeah. Each of the artists are being provided one of the buildings, historic building to paint, and I've been given the historic museum, San Ramon Valley Museum, so that's what I'm doing right now.
And this is a classic California type building.
Totally, yes.
It'd be wonderful for your California resume portfolio.
Yeah, it is a challenge, but I'm trying to work it out. Yes.
We're going to see quite a bit of your art today. We're showing at least 10, maybe even more, 15 pieces of your work on today's show, as well as having the 4 pieces we have up here. And many of them are California scenes, like Big Sur, or many other places, some beautiful Carmel Valley and Carmel Hills, and some of the beautiful rock formations. But you also have peacocks and horses. So there's 5 different types of art that you like to paint specifically. So when we're going to show these 5 types. So tell me about the 5 different pieces, the 5 different styles, 5 different subject matters that you are drawn to painting or drawing.
Mostly, after I moved out to California is when I started doing a lot of art, because that's when my passion took determination to really, because I had more time, I think, after I moved. And the inspiration is the landscape around, the mountains, the ocean, and whatnot, to inspire me to start this painting. And I really devoted a lot of time, set aside my Saturdays only to do my art, took away my time away from everything else I was doing. And so I really and that's how I started doing this. And to talk about my paintings, I don't know if you want to show some in the slides over here.
Oh, we will. Definitely. I want to talk a little bit more about you don't live in Danville, you live in the Danville area, and your art club is
it's
in Los Alamos? It is in Danville.
Yeah, I live in San Ramon right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I recently moved there, and most of my art, all of my art is in pastel right now.
Right. So okay. So you used to live here on the peninsula where this show is taped, and now you've moved out to San Ramon.
Yeah.
And you're with this art club. Tell me a little bit about this art club.
It is an Alamo Danville society, artist society, and they do a lot of promotional activities right now. And they
Promotional
have
activities. What do you mean promotional?
like we have a lot of events, and in fact, every Thursdays we have all the artists gather there on the
Thursday,
street.
not
They
just
have
once a month.
Not once a month. Every Thursday evening we
Really?
have live music going on there. So
Wow.
people of the town just gather. The people from around the town, Tri-Valley, Livermore, Pleasanton, San Ramon, they just gather there and have a lot of fun in the gallery. So we promote each month a couple
I
of
had no
artists.
idea that they were that
Yeah.
hot on art in that
Yes,
area.
they're
Wow.
really promoting
I've
the artists
shown there. I used to belong to a club years and years ago. I was a big watercolorist, and I belonged to a watercolor association, which is out there.
San Ramon, yes.
Yeah, so they showed at the Black Hawk. I'm not even sure if that's going anymore. Do you
Yeah,
do you know?
it is. It is all going on there right
Okay.
now. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So I didn't go out there enough because it's kind of far away. So thank you for driving all the way over here. I know
Yeah, no.
it's kind of a drive. So let's see. Well, let's bring up some of your pieces. Then we have Marty. Oh, here we go. We've got Roaring Seas up. Tell me about Roaring Seas.
Oceans and water has always been my passion from my very small age, because I grew up near the ocean, and I've been always, every weekend we are there in the ocean playing. So that's all been my passion. So I've always done oceans a lot in my artwork. You have seen a lot of water there. And this particular piece was
This is in Big Sur?
Big
It
Sur.
looks like Big Sur to me. I
Yeah,
love
it is
Big Sur.
in Big
I
Sur.
can just feel that surf
Yeah.
pounding and when the white caps coming up from the waves pounding the rocks.
Yeah, at least once in 2 months I tend to drive out there.
Do you really? Every 2
17-mile
months?
drive, and I just
Wow.
love the sceneries over there, and I do a lot of sketches on
Do you
site.
sketch on site? Okay.
I
And
do
then you take
small
photos?
sketches on site and take some photos and bring it back to my studio and then do a composition of it.
Now that piece
And,
was an 18 by 24.
That's right.
So that's kind of a medium to medium small piece.
Yes.
But for pastel, is that kind of, because it's on paper, so paper really can't get that big. Like
can do-
canvases, you can get to like 6, 7, 8 feet.
Yeah.
And you just can't do that on paper.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few people I've seen in museums, but it's unruly, it's difficult to work on, especially
Yes.
pastel, because you'd be rubbing it. So you keep your pieces are mostly 18 by 24.
Mostly I'm trying to keep it standard, one size. I have been doing different sizes before. Now just due to framing and taking it and going to the galleries and everything, I just kind of trying to keep it in one format size, that's it.
And that's also for easier to store.
That's right. And also to, like you mentioned earlier about working on pastel, it makes it much easier for me to working on pastel in that particular size.
So what do you do to keep the pastel from because it's a chalky, it's not chalk. Some people are confused what pastel is. Pastel is actually compressed raw pigments into a stick, like chalk is, but it's not chalk. I want people to understand that. In the studio, I don't know if you, can you pass some of the pastels around so people can see it? Okay, there you go. Now you'll see that it looks like chalk, but it's not chalk. It's very special, it's expensive, and it's really, it's the most concentrated form of art pigment onto paper, and you use a rough tooth paper.
Yes, that's true.
So it can pull it off.
Yeah.
And there's hard pastel and there's soft pastel, and so do you use hard pastel and then go with soft at the top? Or?
No, I use all kinds of pastels, but I treat the paper also with gesso and different kinds
You
of things.
do? Okay,
Yes,
so you create your own hard rough
yes,
surface.
according to the
Wonderful.
pastels I use, and I create. I love Rembrandt very much. So and
Rembrandt
that's
pastels?
Pastels, and that's just too powdery. So I have to really treat the paper before I do that. So
Okay. So now we have another piece we want to show. Here we go. We've got Wooden Bridge. Now that is, so those are your trees. So you do water and trees. It's almost like you're doing the 4 elements here.
this is
Earth,
the,
right? Earth
That's
and-
true,
yeah.
very true. I'm a Pisces person, so I do very down to earth things a lot. And this is in Yosemite. Wooden
Yosemite?
Bridge.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Love Yosemite. So you go
And,
to the greatest places around here, Big Sur, Yosemite. No wonder that after coming here from Flat Big, I love Texas, but it's so very different than here. You get Yosemite and you'd be inspired to paint it, of course.
That's my escape, I think, to get away from the concrete structures in the city.
What
go
part
to
of
the-
Yosemite do you go to inspire you to bring out your passion in art?
Most of the time I go into the wooded area, and also I go to this dome. I do a lot of hiking as well.
Okay, so you go into the floor.
Yeah, that's
where
true.
everyone goes, and then if you walk more than 5 or 10 minutes, there's nobody around anymore.
Yeah,
You're
that's
just
true.
alone.
Yeah, that's true.
With a few other hikers.
Yeah.
So you walk up some trail
Yeah.
with your pastels and
A little bit. I don't take too much to carry on, so I just take some of it, and I
do you use pencil when you start out, or do you
No,
always
with
use pastel?
pastel.
Okay.
Small pastels, and I just do the sketch because I just want to capture the colors. And then I normally come back and do it immediately, so I have this mind picture in me, and I
You
want
take photos too, or?
I do that also, some of
Okay.
them, and then I try to transfer it into my painting immediately. So.
Oh, good, good. Well, that was a beautiful. Can we bring that painting back up again, Marty? That the woods painting of Yosemite. There we go, wooden bridge. So now let's talk about this painting specifically. It's a wooden bridge, so it's in the trees definitely. But,
Yeah.
But you've got a bridge. You can see the distance. It's this. It looks like a pathway. If I didn't know the title of bridge, I would just assume that it was a path with some logs on the side.
In this painting, I love the tall trees, the shadows, and then the bridge just getting into nowhere, like feeling lost. But you're not actually lost. You're walking into the nature.
Yeah.
So that's what I loved about this scene.
It's beautiful, and it's very inspirational too, and I love your story. So we'd like to have the other. Now you've got 3 other types. So we've got water and trees, and then there's flowers and here we go, flower, white burst.
Yes, I love flowers all the time because it gives instant pleasure when you see it, because it's not something it's going to last long. Most of the time, I tried my work at still life, but that doesn't work for me. So even while you're driving, you see so many flowers. This just inspires me so much, brightens my mood a lot. So this was taken at one of my friends' garden.
Oh, okay.
So I just sat there and did a sketch, and then brought it to my studio and started working on it.
Okay.
So
okay.
that's what I love about this.
Well, it's a beautiful piece. So we've got another one. The 4th image we're going to take a look at is, oh my God, it's racing horses. So are these Mustangs, or is this a track? No, these guys don't have saddles, so this could be Mustangs.
No, horses are also one of my passions. When I've been always my dad always had a lot of passions about horses, have been taking me to ranches and everything. And I've also been involved in therapeutic riding for disabled kids back in Texas for several years. So I've been very involved with horses. So this was taken in Batista, actually. I do this when I went on a camping trip with my church. So I saw these horses there, and I got a passion for it, and I drew that.
Did you, that's kind of hard to sketch horses when they're running. Did you take photographs?
Yes, actually this was grazing horses, and then I made them into running more,
Okay.
Just
use your artistic talent.
That's right.
So we have one more we want to show. It's a peacock. And the peacock,
Yes.
here's the peacock for everyone to see. Can you all see the peacock? Okay, great. It's beautiful. In fact, we've got the peacock here on site too. So talk about the peacock to me.
If you notice the peacock, I love close-ups. If you see most of my paintings, I just love to do the close-ups and love to see all the minute details. And peacock is also one of the national bird of India, where I come from. So I have a passion for them. And peacocks, I grew up among them because in India, they have it in the community gardens. And then they also have it in the temples, Hindu religious temples. They have a lot of peacocks.
Really?
So I've been looking at
I had no
them.
idea. They put they let these, because they're noisy birds and they're big too.
They grow big, yes, and so they have it in the garden, community garden. So I love them very much. So
And are they now when they're so okay? So it's just a bird in my church, but. I guess it's just a historical fact that that's what you've.
I don't remember.
They're beautiful. They are beautiful.
They
I love.
really
It's just
beautiful.
amazing.
Especially.
Now the females are not as beautiful as the males. So these paintings you have are of male peacocks.
Yeah, male peacocks. Yeah,
Okay.
this is a close-up. I just love them.
That's
and
gorgeous.
So, yeah.
So now you're from India. Talk to me a little bit about India. Tell me about her story of India.
I'm sure you must have noticed that I'm from India from what I'm wearing already. So
Yeah, in fact, when we had our interview a couple of days ago, you had a little dot on your forehead.
That's true.
And I said, "Oh, is that religious dot?" And you said, "No, no, it's just part of my
culture."
So,
Yeah, that's true.
which since we're American, and my culture is from the Midwest, so I have a I have an Upper Northern European heritage. So I'm far removed from the India culture. So tell me about the India culture, your part in it, and then what happened when you moved to Texas first before you moved here to California?
That's true. That's right. I grew up in India, born, brought up there, and I always had a passion for art there. And there was not much where I could really release my creativity there. It's just the culture, I think, and the family status and everything. But I was always involved in some kind of creative activity back growing up. Either you can talk about sewing. I love sewing. I've done a lot of dresses sewing and furnishings, home furnishings.
Like the beautiful Dracio. You know, you didn't make this.
No, this
beautiful
I didn't make this one, but I make a lot of other dresses, Indian dresses, and so that's what I'm being passionate. And I loved cooking a lot, and I just
Very
took a
creative.
passion.
Yeah.
So I always had, even though I always wanted to paint, I didn't have a venue to do that, but I always found something else I can show my passion,
You know,
my creativity.
When
so
I was
that's
a
what I
kid growing up in the Midwest, I didn't want to cook. I didn't want to sew because I thought, well, that's a women's job. So, you know, it's a different culture. And I thought, well, I don't want to be stuck with any women's job. So I didn't learn to sew. I didn't learn to cook. I didn't learn to type.
But this was a lot of creativity
But you
coming
know,
out of that.
I found it out later. But I had just a mindset that it was not what I wanted to do because I thought I knew. I'm a little young kid or a young woman, and I didn't know what I knew I wanted to be an artist, and I knew I wanted to be independent. And I thought that cooking and typing and sewing would make me less independent, which of course is not true because it's a very personal thing. And I love to cook. I'm a fantastic cook, if I might say so myself. You know, but it's like you learn your set of pastels or your set of oils or your brushes when you have your spice cabinet. And
yeah, that's
you know,
true. I just
it's a
love
wonderful
cooking.
creativity of it.
And I also like to tell you that I'm always self-taught because I lost my mom when I was very, very young. It was not somebody who was teaching me how to cook or how to sew. It was just I'm watching others and I'm taking up this passion. Oh, I want to do this too. I want to learn this too. And I want to do something different than the normal thing. So I've always self-taught myself every creative activity that I've
Yeah, but you
been
had a
doing.
grandmother, didn't you?
Granddad,
Granddad.
who's always my inspiration
And you have
for
older
me.
brothers. So were you
That's
the only
right.
girl in your whole
That's
clan?
True. That's true.
I don't know if we call it clan in India,
I
but
grew up very spoiled
but-
and got everything what I wanted. So
okay, spoiled and everything you want, and you're also a creative being, and but you had to leave India in order for your creativity to
yeah, I had
emerge
different family
fully.
situations that brought me here to the U.S. And I came as a student to Texas, and I was there for 15 years before I moved here to California.
Yeah.
So
So we have, I think what we want to do is to show almost a slideshow of 6 more pieces. We already know these are the 5 styles, not 5 styles, 5 subject matters you like to paint.
that's right.
And so, Marty, could you please show there? Let's just talk about your life between Texas and here, and how you we've got pathway. And people can see this both in the studio audience and at home, what paintings are and what their size, what their names are. They're all pastel. So
Yeah.
You moved to Texas 15 years ago, and you moved here 2 years ago.
Yeah, totally. I'm from India. It's like 18 years since I moved from India. I've been here. So I call myself a Texan because I lived there for more than 15 years.
It's a long time.
So, yeah, that's true.
And you don't, but you don't have a Texan twang or anything.
I don't.
What part of Texas were you living in?
In Dallas.
Dallas.
Dallas,
Oh, it's a
Texas,
wonderful
yeah.
town.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right.
So that didn't even have the hurricane damage. It was Houston.
Not
and-
really. Yes, that's right. Houston.
It's right in the
and
center. Okay, and you were working with TI, Texas Instruments.
I was with Texas Instruments for many years, and before
that's
I
what-
moved to California, I just wanted a change of place. I've been there for a long time, and so I just found a different job through a network and came here to California
Did
3 years
you-
back.
Great, great. So you have your dual life, right? You've got your high-tech life,
Yeah, I do.
and you have whatever you do in there, and then you have your creativity outlets. I'm sure you've got some creativity issues that you bring as a bonus to high-tech, because
I do. Actually, the place I work now, it's a 3D animation studio.
great.
So it just
Perfect.
gels with my creativity. I think I love being along with the artists, even though they are graphic artists, but I still love
It's
like to, all the time listen to
Yeah.
all the artistic stuff, what they do. So it's cool. I like it. It's just a total different industry from high tech, what I was doing before.
It's high-tech, but it's high-tech with an art band.
Art, yes,
So-
that's very true. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Okay. So I'm looking down at my notes about what we're going to talk about. Here we're over at Over and Beyond. So we've got a very nice slideshow. Thank you for letting us have all those images to show the
Thank you so
audience
much.
and record on our TV show. They're beautiful and very vibrant. One thing I noticed about your art is that no matter what piece I looked at, it's incredibly vibrant.
Yes, I love bright colors, if you have noticed. And
Yes.
I just,
Yes, I
I just
have.
try to bring it in my art in every way possible because that's what brightens our life. I just feel the colors, which just, takes us out of our gloomy mood or whatever it is. Bright colors always lets us enjoy
If you have a
it.
gloomy mood, I don't think you really would ever have it. I've never really noticed a gloominess about you at all. You're a very bright, special person with a lot of high energy and a lot of warmth. So it's been really nice getting to know you. I met you through our Solar Talks, and
That's
then and now we're not having solar. By the way, I should let people know that this is in the the latter part of the year of 2008 when we're taping this, and Solar Talks are now on hold. So I don't know how often this is going to be rerun, but in case you're wanting to come to the Solar Talks, they're not occurring right now. At least probably for another year. At least till Open Studios is open, because we need to focus on Open Studios. They're sister organizations. So I hope you have Open Studios of some sort in where you're living.
I hope so too. I have not checked into that yet.
Well, it sounds like you've got to do a lot with, if you have weekly functions with.
I am very involved. I'm involved in the Los Gatos Art Association as well. I do all the PR.
Los Gatos?
Yes, that also.
You still do PR down there? My
Yes,
goodness,
that's
that's a long
so
way away, because it's the opposite ends of the...
That's true. I get artists every month to do a demo and everything. So I like to be among the artists so I can get inspired and I learn from them, the little tips here and there. So it helps
that's great.
me.
That's wonderful. I wanted to ask you about the shows and competitions that you're in now.
Yeah, very recently I've started entering all juried shows. And I have 3 of my art that has been shown in the juried shows right now. And I have done 1 piece in Dallas as well. So while I was there. Yeah,
oh, well, that's
right.
great. You shouldn't let go of where you've been, because you've got history there. I think that's a great thing to do. I think Marty, could you please bring up some of our images for, here we go. We've got a juried selection that was a piece that was juried into the Marin MoCA.
Yeah.
Now, MoCA stands for Museum of California
Arts. That's right.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So this is definitely a California art scene that we're looking at here. So tell me about this show.
I submitted my art, like 3 or 4 pieces there, and I was selected. This was the first place in California that my art was selected. I was very encouraged to do more. I did 10 more pieces, I think, after I got selected in there.
Great.
So I have a plan to do a lot of pieces, and I gather all my pieces in my website. I have a website going as well.
So, well, I think we've put up your website a few times, so we'll make sure that the website comes up in between these pieces here. So I think we're done talking about this piece. There we go. Can we have our website up, please? And what's your website name?
It's ranjanimohana.com.
Easy for you to say. Here it is. So it's RANJANIMOHANA.com.
Yep,
Okay, so it's on the TV right now. So if anybody in the audience wants to write it down, they certainly can, and maybe you could talk with them after the show is over.
Sure, most definitely.
And you can always write to the SOLA website and to our webmaster and get information, and also to you. Well, of course, if they remembered your name, they'd be able to write to you directly.
Yeah.
So. I cracked myself up. So anyway, so we've got more pieces that you've got into shows as well. So if we could have another piece up, please, from the next show. There we go. Now this one's juried into the Pioneer Arts Gallery in Grass Valley.
That's right. That's my very recently got accepted, this piece.
Oh, okay. So I'm confused because you were telling me Pioneer Arts.
The Pioneer Art is everywhere.
Because we're pioneer people in California. So Pioneer Arts where you live, and then also there's one in Grass Valley. Great area. I love that area. So you have a piece in there. It looks like it's trees.
Yeah,
on a lake.
Yeah, that's true. That's right.
So now did we see this one earlier? What's the name of this one?
This is called Reflections.
Okay, we did not see this earlier. I don't think. Okay.
So
now this one got juried in there, and how many pieces? Do you know how many pieces are in the show, or how long it's going to be up?
There were 200 was submitted, I believe, and 80 was selected for the show.
Oh, congratulations!
So I'm glad I was one of them to be selected there.
And how long is this hanging?
It starts on October the 28th, and it goes on till November 20th or so.
And again, this is in 2008. If this
That's
is
right.
run,
Yes.
So. Okay. Well, very good. Very good. And there's a reception also?
Yeah, I'm also a member of the Pastoral Society of the West Coast, which
Oh,
is in
good.
Sacramento, and I am in charge of taking care of the show here in Triton next year for the member show.
Oh, very good, very
So
good.
I try to keep myself busy.
So you definitely keep, you work full time, you have a daughter that you visit with who's busy herself, and
Yeah.
you this as well. Oh, we have another one up for Marin Mocha again. This is the jury selection. This is the one from Big Sur, with
That's
the
right,
waves
the roaring
crashing and
seas, yeah.
pounding on the rocks.
Yeah, that's true.
So, what
Awesome.
and so this one, when was this in the show?
This was in the show in earlier in July to August.
This year, so
This year.
just a few months ago. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
And we have one more that we want to show, and this one is unicorns, and it was in this is the Texas Art Show. And tell me about
This is the first piece I
Texas
ever
is a
did.
big, huge place. So now, where in Texas
This
is this?
is in Dallas, Texas. This is the
Dallas.
very first pastel art that I have ever done.
Really? Oh my goodness! And it
And
got into
I
a
was
show.
so excited that it was selected in a show.
Wow.
But I didn't do much there, but I was happy that it got selected. It kept my inspiration going, I should say.
Well,
you know.
and I noticed that you not only paint horses or draw horses, but it's pastel drawing or painting. I get confused.
It's a pastel, it's an art, it's a
but
painting.
is it called painting? Okay,
It's called
that's
painting.
what I would call it, yeah.
Yeah.
So now I noticed that you paint unicorns.
It's a fantasy.
It's a fantasy. Okay. So is that part of your passion and inspiration?
Yeah, because I have so much of passion built in me, and I always wanted to get it out, and I have to find some avenues to do it. And so the bright colors, if you see all the art I use, bright color, that's one of my passion, to bring it out. And also getting the time to do it, right? That's one of the thing, because I don't want to grow much later in life and say I could have done something with it. So I just want to try it, give it a shot, and just go for it. That's my...
Now, I know that you told me earlier, you shared this with me, that there was a message you wanted to tell to our audience and also to anybody who happens to be watching the show, and to me also. What have you, from the journey of moving from India to Texas, which is a long way, and then from Texas to here, which is a long way and very different culture, but something inside of you has shifted, and you've come to realize this very important message that you want to share with everybody?
Most definitely, because my website name is called Journey of a Passion, because I've had this passion built in me all the time, and I'm so glad the God's blessings that I was able to keep this passion in me for so many decades, and I found a venue finally to bring it out. That's what I feel very grateful about. And to give a message to the audience, not that they already know about, they don't know about it, but for me, the experience is go for it. If you have a passion, try it, and it's not the end result, whether you succeed or fail. It's the process, what you go for it. I think it's so very important.
Thank you very much, and I want to congratulate you for a beautiful show and a wonderful message.
Thanks for having me here.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you. You're welcome.